Coach Jeff MacKay here. Welcome to C.L.A.W and our Wrestling Video Fundamental Series. For any beginner wrestler, there's really two stances that they need to learn. That is the square stance and the staggered stance. And really the staggered stance is an offshoot of the square stance. So let's look at each of those. The square stance, your feet are slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Your knees and your shoulders should be in alignment. You bend the knees, tuck the butt under, the shoulders are hunched, the head is up facing your opponent and pushed back into your shoulders. Your hands are in front. From the side, your feet are slightly past shoulder width apart. You bend your knees, your butt is tucked, your shoulders are, back is humped, your head is up and in your shoulders, and your hands are in front and low. So, for example, we're going to look at Wild's square stance. So, his knees are bent, they're slightly wider than shoulder width, his elbows are in, his head is up. This is really key. His back is bowed, his butt is tucked under the side. Okay. The staggered stance is an offshoot from that. You have your square stance. Your staggered stance, one foot is in front of the other foot, but your knees and your shoulders are still in alignment. Your feet are still slightly wider than your shoulder width apart. Your elbows are still in, your hands are still low, your back is still arched, your head is up and pushed back into your shoulders.
To check your staggered stance, all you have to do is turn back 45 degrees, back to a square stance. 45 and you're back to a staggered. Turn 45, square, stagger, square. If you check that way by turning 45 degrees, you can assure yourself that your alignment is correct from a square stance to a stagger stance.
It's really easy to make sure everything checks out when you're in a square stance. The downside of square stance is it's not as easy to move from one direction to the other, and it's not as stable a stance as a staggered stance. A staggered stance allows you more opportunity and more power to drive forward to attack. A square stance, you're kind of limited. So Wild's in his square stance, staggered stance. Exactly, his head's up, his hands are low, his back's rolled, butt's tucked. Excellent. Elbows are in. Square stance, staggered stance.